years ago, I did something a little bit terrifying and exciting. I quit my safe, stable corporate job and I decided to launch my own startup. The company that I launched is an online print and stationery platform that funds education projects for women and girls across the developing world. Today, we work with some of Australia's biggest corporates, and we've funded over 70,000 days of education for women and girls across Africa and Asia. Things are going pretty well, and I haven't once regretted throwing in that corporate job. In saying this, however, my journey in the startup world has not always been easy. I happen to possess a certain characteristic which is quite rare in this industry. I'm a woman. You see, 3 out of 4 startups in Australia are founded by men, and only 4% of our high-growth technology startups are founded by women. As you can see from this recent gathering, sometimes spotting another female face at a networking event can be a little bit like a game of Where's Wally? Or in this case, a game of Where's Wilma? So sexism is a really big problem in the startup world, and it's especially true when it comes to raising investment. During one of my very first pitches to investors, one of the executives pulled me aside and complimented me on my sexy voice before giving me his business card and ushering me out of the room. It was pretty gross. And thankfully, situations like this are more rare, but there is still an unconscious gender bias at play. And it's a powerful thing, this unconscious bias, because the vast majority of investors are men, and only 4% of all venture capital goes to female-led startups. So you might be wondering if there is a reason for this. I mean, success is supposed to be based on merit, right? Maybe men have had some awesome business ideas. Maybe they've had some really cool business plans. Well, in 2014, a study led by Harvard and Wharton professors presented the same video investment pitch deck to 500 investors. Only, they edited the sound of the founder's voice to either a female tone or a male tone. The pitches with the male tone were 68% more likely to receive investment, with investors claiming they were more fact-based, more persuasive, more logical than the female pitches. Let me just remind you, we're talking about the exact same word-for-word, identical pitches here. Something does not add up, and it's that unconscious gender bias at play. But you want to hear something really crazy? Startups founded by women are actually more successful than those founded by men. According to a recent study, women-led tech startups achieved a 35% higher return on investment and 12% higher revenues than those founded by men when they received funding. Just this week, an Australian venture capital firm announced that although female-led startups make up just 15% of their portfolio, they contribute to over 42% of its value. Women are also more likely than men to start companies in order to have a positive impact on the world. And they're less likely to take harmful actions, such as moving that company interstate or cutting back staff or eliminating benefits. So women have a much harder time getting investment, but when they do, they perform much better. Ladies and gentlemen, if we really want to change the world, why aren't we investing in women? I was so intrigued by this weird juxtaposition when I first discovered it, that I started to wonder how it might apply outside of the startup world as well. I mean, what kind of increased returns might society see if we invested more money in women? For example, people often ask me why our company only funds education for women and girls and not for boys and men. You might be wondering this yourself. Aside from the incredible inequality that girls face, the answer is simple. It's a better impact investment. Funding education for girls transforms not just their life, but also their families, their communities, and even their nations. An educated girl will live longer, she'll get married later, and she will have fewer and healthier children. She'll also earn more. A 2012 UN report found that women invest 90% of their earnings back into their families, whereas for men, it's only around 30 to 40%. When women rise, we all rise. When we invest in women, the world changes for the better. Okay, I know I've given you some heavy facts, and you're probably thinking, great, I don't have a spare $1 to $10 million to invest in an awesome female-led startup. I hear you, me too. But there are ways we can invest in, the compassion, the courage, and the whip-smart brains of women. Every time you open your wallet, you invest. I want to challenge you to think about how you spend your money. Choose to buy from great female-led startups and small businesses. Choose to buy from companies that champion pay equality and diversity. And choose to donate to charities that work to empower women and girls. And there is actually a way you can directly invest in some awesome female-led startups without needing a big fat venture capital fund at your disposal. I want to introduce you to Rose. In Rose's case, a $30 investment through a microfinance loan enabled a purchase of 30 kilos of seed as well as agricultural workshops. Rose then started a small farming business, turning that initial investment into 150 kilos of produce, which she then sold at her local market and also used to feed her family. A 2011 report found that if female farmers in the developing world had equal access to resources as men, there would be 150 million fewer hungry people in the world. Small investments in women can add up to a really big impact. So it's never been more important to invest in women. If we want economies to grow, if we want to eliminate poverty, we have to overcome this unconscious gender bias that persists across so many areas of society. And it's especially important when it comes to startups, because it's startups that are creating and shaping our future. It's technology and innovation that determine our tomorrow. It's time for the startup world to put diversity first. If women don't get equal access to investment, if they don't get equal opportunity to build big, successful companies, then our future will continue to be predominantly imagined by men, just half our population. I think we can all agree that that equates to limited returns for everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, if we really want to change the world, if we want to see what's actually possible, if we want to think bigger and do better, let's invest in women. Thank you.